Sarveshwar Tripathi sir in this session orientation program that is held for the second year and the third year students. Let me give you a brief description of Sarvesh sir's profile. Sarvesh sir has been a seasoned journalist working for various newspapers, including the top brands like Hindustan Times, and in various capacities. The best, the highlight of his, career is, working for HT and then covering, the tribal issues and covering the Naxal areas and doing the ground reporting from there. And in addition to that, Sarvesh sir has been in the field of academia for a long time, where he has been imparting, all that he has, gained from his field experience, and now he's imparting it to his students, and he's been doing it wonderfully. I've been his student, and as I know, I've learned a lot when it comes to development communication. That is something that I studied from him. He's been my teacher for long, and I think I should say that that is from where I kind of gained some interest in this particular subject, and that is the area of my PhD also. So all thanks to Sarvesh sir. I would now like Saxena sir to give the big starting remarks, and then we can move on to Sarvesh sir, and then we can take the entire session forward.
Yeah, thank you. Pramod, Sanchita, would you like to say something if your network is all right, or should we proceed? Okay, so proceeding
Yes,
further.
sir.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, sir. So the special orientation program aims to introduce our students to various facets of mass communication. And I'm highly privileged to announce that it is being organized by DME Media School. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi, and approved by Bar Council of India. The institute offers BBA, BBA LLB, and BLLB as well as BJMC. DME believes in imparting world-class education to its students while training them to develop and enhance their skills. This education and training enable them to take up the challenges of the industry and create a space for themselves with their competence and vigor. The session orientation program for batch of 2019 to 2022 and 2018 to 2021 is being steered by DME Media School, which is one of the top media schools in the country, and focuses on the growth of the faculty as well as students through academic and co-curricular activities. We keep organizing various sessions and events to offer students exposure, practical learning, and industry interactions. We successfully organized Cineast International Film Festival of India, CIFI, in April 2019 in collaboration with Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia, and Inter-College Media Festival, Ritika, in November 2019. Both events saw a huge participation. Additionally, we also have BG Varghese lecture series, which is organized every month with eminent media personalities and experts delivering special lectures on issues related to media and other subjects of contemporary value. Among the various conferences and seminars that DME Media School organizes on regular intervals, ICANN has emerged as a brand in a short time. We have organized 3 editions of ICANN. First 2 editions were organized in the year 2018. ICANN 1 was organized in March 2018 on the theme of India and changing aspects of news. And ICANN 2 was held in November 2018 on the theme of Indian cinema and alternate networks. The 3rd edition of ICANN and world's first 10-day digital live international conference, ICANN 3, took place in June 2020 on the theme Issues of Community, Agenda and News. It was held over Zoom application adapting with the changing world. The 3 conferences witnessed large participation of delegates and experts from different parts of the world. COVID-19 has caused disruption in most fields, including education. But Teaching learning shall never stop or pause. Therefore, given the extraordinary circumstances, DME Media School quickly adapted to the change and leveraged technology to impart education to students. Video lectures and in-depth study material was shared with the students. Starting the new session, we have adopted a methodology which is more in tune with the contemporary times, keeping in mind the safety of the students. We will be uploading video lectures on Polpol, a digital learning platform, followed by subject-specific online tutorials and lab classes. Apart from curricular activities, we also organized various webinar series which discuss about the impact of COVID-19 on various industries, and we recently concluded our Media Master web series wherein we familiarized media aspirants with different fields of mass communication. Also, to provide our students a new platform, we have also started a student-centric chat show face-to-face. The first episode was held yesterday, that is August 4, 2020. We have taken all measures to build a digital campus for seamless online education. Let's have a look at our digital campus video.
Has embraced digital paradigm shift by adopting technology-based learning.
Unlike other colleges, we adopted a two-step strategy. In step 1, teachers would be preparing the videos, students would be watching them. In step 2, the student would be coming to the tutorial, clarifying the doubts, making the presentations, and discuss with the teacher.
At DME, we have invested in the best in the class academic ERP, which allows us to have a 360-degree robust communication amongst all the stakeholders, students and faculty members.
DME's virtual learning mechanism is no less than real-time classroom teaching,
wherein the students are provided the pool of e-learning resources in the form of PPTs, video lectures, and online classes in a very student-friendly environment.
There is no need of mental blocks. Online teaching is as effective and interesting as offline teaching. Let the students enjoy this new mode of education.
In DME, we believe in quality education. We take care of our students. We want to see them happy.
Mental and emotional health are one of the most challenging issues of present times. DME Mentoring Cell takes care of that. Not just this, we go beyond academic curriculum to instill the most important employability skills in our students.
Okay, so to start with today's session, I think we should not lose much time because we are already late in this session. And since these are the third semester students who are there joining this session, and this is a paper which has been prescribed in our BJMC course, which is on development communication. And since Dr. Sarveshwar Tripathi has a long first-hand experience in the field of development, and then since the time he has come to teaching, he is translating all that knowledge, all that experience that he has acquired as a journalist while working in the field to the academics. So that is how we requested him to take this today's lecture, so that a proper grounding of the students is possible in the subject of development communication. So I will request Dr. Tripathi to take the session forward. Over to you, Dr. Tripathi.
Thank you, sir. And first of all, I am very grateful to Delhi Metropolitan Education, Professor Saxena, who is also my mentor, and Professor Sushmita Bala, Pramod, Sanchita. I am thankful to all just to providing me this kind of opportunity. This is because this is my field of interest, and I would always like to speak on these topics of development communication. So I would like to keep this interaction with the third semester students an informal interaction. Like, I am not going to tell you some very, very academic thing. you should understand why development communication. What is the relevance? What is the use of development communication? Mostly development studies, they emerge from economics. And for a long time, there was a misunderstanding that economic growth is only development. But later on, after Second World War, when a number of countries, they got independence, then the paradigms of development started changing. And now, when development economists are also from Latin American countries, South Africa, Asian countries, who were once colonies of the European powers. Now, a number of economists, they conducted research, and now there is a perfect paradigm change in the development that I'll discuss later on. The first question that any student can raise: why development? As a media student, why they should study development? You see, media, when you are studying media, there will be different streams. You may go to print communication, print media, newspaper, or any digital media, or audiovisual media, online media, or you may also go to publication and advertising. And you should understand that this is the era of convergence. You cannot isolate any stream of knowledge from other. If you don't have the proper understanding of your country's economy, if you are a journalist, your country's economy, your country's geography, your country's history, your country's political scenario, you can't go in the field of mass communication. Professor Saxena would have told you all these things earlier. And from time to time, when I watch his lectures, I'm sure that you have a very good understanding of these things. Likewise, if you don't have an understanding of the development, what is development, then it will be very difficult for you in the future, when you are in a profession, to just, you can go to certain level, but you cannot go to next level if you don't have an understanding. You must say that I want to be a cameraman, I want to be a video editor, I want to be a PR person, I want to be an advertising copywriter. So if you are writing a copy, for whom? If you are going to address somebody in your advertising copy, or if you are conducting a public relation campaign, that is for whom? You must have certain target audience. In public relation, it is publics. In advertising and marketing, it is target audience. Who are that target audience? What are their issues? And you think, whatever are their issues, a lot of issues may be related to development. If you have a good understanding of development, you can also have a good understanding of their issues. And you know, if whatever copy you are writing, you are working in a journalism, or you are working in marketing communication, or whatever kind of communication, if you don't have a proper understanding of the profile of your target audience, you cannot succeed in your communication. As a teacher, all the teacher must be agree with me, they will be, that if we don't know our target audience, that are students, if we don't know well, if we don't know about knowledge level, about their status, about their background well, then it becomes difficult for us. You cannot talk in the void. So that's why the profile of our target audience, proper understanding is essential. And that's why if you have an understanding of development, you can understand their issues. You can understand well their profile, and accordingly you can communicate. See, and I have told you this is the era of convergence. You cannot isolate any kind of knowledge from other. In one kind of stream or one kind of profession, the knowledge of other streams is also essential. That's why you must develop a holistic approach if you are working in communication. and understanding of development communication, it is an imperative for media students, and proper understanding of development and communication. Let us informally first talk about development. When we raise a question about development with the students, first of all, they say, जैसे just हिंदी में एक कहावत है कि एक हाथी आई तो कई अंधे रहे, तो उन्होंने एक कहा ये खंबा है, ये कहा एक रस्सी है, ये कहा एक दीवार है, ये मतलब means their approach of understanding of hathi was not holistic. So somebody would say that development is infrastructural development, infrastructure, बड़ी बड़ी buildings हैं शहर में, बड़ी बड़ी कारें चल रही हैं, तो वो development है. Somebody will say that agriculture production, some other will say that industry, some other will say that is technology, others will say that this is telecommunication. Mostly the concept of development that remains in the mind of the people, that is a very big, very good city with a well-off people. They are having all the modern facilities and they are doing well. There's such a society. This is a developed society. It's a great misconception. You know, in the development index, I don't know what is the current situation, but there is a country, Brunei. The per capita income of Brunei is very high, very high. Even then, Brunei is a sultanate. It's ruled by a sultan. But Brunei's status in development index is very, very low, because democracy does not exist in Brunei. So in that way, what you will say? As we consider infrastructure and we consider the life of the people, the lifestyle of the people, that is very high. Even you will find in Arabian countries, the living, their infrastructure, that is very nice. All the glitters are available there in the life. But in the development index, it is still very low. Because, you see, there is no political freedom. In that way, political freedom will also become an integral part of development. So development is not, first of all, you must develop an understanding that development is not a glittering life or the glittering city full of cars, full of skyrocketing multi-story buildings, full of malls. Development is beyond that. Must develop, the students must develop an understanding of that. And you see, development, different economies, if you will observe, then you will find that all the major development economists, they have reached over a conclusion that democracy is most conducive system of development. Why? Why? Development is happening, it is occurring since long. You can say for thousands of years, development is happening. But that is not real development, you say. If Shah Jahan has constructed Taj Mahal or Lal Killa, where from the money has come? It was a public exchequer. But the sultans and kings and monarchs, they spent public exchequer. Their prioritization was very different. They spent public exchequer for their own whims and fancies. So whatever development was there, it was very lopsided. You cannot say that since he has built Taj Mahal, so his development was very nice. You cannot say. When public is happy, that's why there is a new term, happiness index. When people are happy overall, and people may not remain happy without democracy. And that's why if we need real development, you should need real democracy. And that's why we are very much concerned with the democracy. We are very much concerned with the conservation and protection of our democracy. And always we think about it. So in this way, the meaning of development has changed. You see, so for a long time in human history, development was not an issue. Even if you see the Middle Ages or later on, it was not an issue because most of the countries and territories of the world were ruled by monarchs, and arbitrarily they ruled their state in their own way. It was only when there was a process of democratization in the world and the civic society started coming into existence. You see, we should not be ashamed to say that it was a European process. The process was born in Europe. अभी हम बहुत सारी बातें करते हैं कि हम विश्व गुरु हैं और हमारी संस्कृति बहुत प्राचीन है, लेकिन जब हमें मॉडर्न स्टडीज करनी पड़ती है तो when we have to go back to Europe for the studies. What happened? A number of things they started emerging in Europe altogether, just as the process of democratization and industrialization. The industrialization and democratization, that is also related to each other. So industries, first of all, in those countries, industries started developing, and because of industries, a new class was born, that was middle class. Earlier, only two classes existed. Nobles, that was aristocratic upper class, and labor class, the lower strata of society. Now there was a third class, and their population started exceeding. They came to the urban areas, there was urban centralization, and simultaneously there was a process of democratization. So after that, after industrialization and democratization, people started thinking, the economists, a number of people were there, how should we develop? How should we go ahead? After this means drastic, the phenomenal change in the society. So you see, industrialization also brought a change in the society. Social changes started occurring. Social changes, political changes, all occurred. And there was a change in the culture also. Cultural changes also started occurring. So I won't go into detail in that history. But then people, the thinkers, is how to go ahead now. Ab aage kaise jayein? Then people of the world, they started thinking about development. For our convenience, we can say that it was almost the era of industrialization when we ever first started thinking of development. You can say that was mid of 18th century. From the beginning of 18th century, industrialization started, and it was almost the mid of 18th century, 1750, like that, when we started thinking about development. And after that, Raymond Williams, Stuart Mill, a number of philosophers, a number of concepts of development, and development is not, I have told you, this is not an isolated field, related to politics, related to social science, related to economy. So all these people, they started thinking about. So a number of concepts emerged, and you see, I am skipping 200 years. When did we reach over the maturity level? Maturity level we achieved worldwide when a number of, you see, what happened during these 200 years, that a number of countries of the world, of Latin American countries and South African countries and Asian countries, they were all colonies. They were not independent. They were dependent over some colonial powers like Spain, like England, like France, like Portugal, like that. You see, in 18th century, in the end of 18th century, it was 1772 or 75, America got freedom from Britain. And later on, you can say almost after 150 years, there was a spree of freedom of all these countries, of these continents, Asia, South America and Africa, from the shackles of colonial and imperialist powers. And it was also post-World War II era. So a lot of new countries were born after that. ये freedom हमारी मिली 47 में, इसके बाद बहुत सारे देशों को मिलती है. Reason ये भी बताया जाता है कि after there was so much devastation after World War II that those colonial and imperialist powers, they could not keep hold over all these countries. That's why they set us free. Now, I cannot deny the effort of our freedom fighters, but that is also a reason. So when the number of new countries were born, then there was another problem. And all these countries, they had to start from the scratches, from the zero, because all their assets were almost plundered by the colonial or imperialist powers. How to start? And just for this consideration, United Nations was formed after World War II. The United Nations started started thinking how these countries should keep pace with developing countries. Actually, United Nations with a certain objectives, United Nations was formed, so that there may be an equitable development in all the countries, newly born countries, so that there may not be jiski lati iski bhais, ki the stronger the muscle man can grab the territories of other countries. It may not happen. There were certain objectives, a number of objectives. So development was also a major objective of United Nations, just to provide the opportunities of equitable development. So after that, the new concepts of development started taking birth. New paradigms of development started emerging. You can say in 50s, they started reconsidering development. And now, development that was earlier considered only the industrialization and urbanization, earlier, this was the general concept of development. Some new paradigms were being added now. It was accepted by the economists and development people worldwide. The social development is also essential. Social and human development. It is not only, development is not the synonym of economic growth. There must be a holistic thinking, social and human development. Agriculture, along with agriculture and industry, education and health is also a very, very vital element for the development of the country. I think I would like to discuss with certain stories. We often go to the hinterland of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh just to train the journalists there. When we went there and we asked journalists generally, कि आप लोग विकास की पत्रकारिता करते हैं, विकास पर कुछ लिखते हैं? हाँ सर लिखते हैं. क्या लिखते हैं? तो बताते हैं खड़ंजा लिंक रोड. खड़ंजा कहते हैं एक कच्ची सी रोड बनाई जाती है गांव में. लिंक रोड, पंचायत घर और नाले का निर्माण, नहर है कि नहीं, ये उनकी डेवलपमेंट की पैराडाइम्स हैं, कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, उनके दिमाग में चलती रहती हैं और इसी पर वो लिखते हैं. लिंक रोड सही है कि नहीं, गांव का नाला सही है कि नहीं, नाली सही है कि नहीं, नहर में पानी आ रहा है कि नहीं, बिजली की लाइन है कि नहीं, टेलीकम्युनिकेशन है कि नहीं. Obviously, all these things are development. They are also different sectors of development. Power supply भी है, तो telecommunication भी है, तो connectivity भी है, तो transport भी है, road भी है, drainage भी है, सब कुछ है development. लेकिन देखिए, this infrastructure, power supply dominates their mind. इसके लिए आप I will suggest, अभी तो नेहरू बैशिंग के साथ साथ अमर्त्य सेन बैशिंग भी हो रही है, लेकिन I would like to suggest you all to read अमर्त्य सेन. It's a Nobel laureate. अब देखिए, समझना ये पड़ेगा कि जब उससे पूछा कि there is, do you know, we collected earlier, we had collected data about those villages. Those villages were bitterly poverty-stricken villages. Malnutrition, lack of health facilities existed there. That is the hinterland of Chhattisgarh. So we asked them, do you know there is stunting and wasting? आप जानते होंगे stunting और wasting क्या होता है? Stunting is the growth of the child is restricted because of the lack of proper nutrition. एक तो होते हैं dwarf, जैसे कहते हैं बौने, वो हेरिडिटरी होते हैं, जेनेटिकली होते हैं. लेकिन एक होता है कि चाइल्ड की ग्रोथ इसलिए नहीं होती कि बिकॉज दे आर नॉट गेटिंग द प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टंटिंग और वेस्टिंग. वेस्टिंग means his nutrients are wasted away, and since malnourished, the child is malnourished, that is called wasting. So there are ample cases of wasting and stunting in that village. बहुत सारे बच्चे छोटे छोटे उनके हाथ पैर ठीक से डेवलप नहीं. तो उन्होंने कहा, have you seen these things in your village around you? तो उन्होंने कहा हाँ सर, हाँ तो देखा है. तो उन्होंने कहा कभी वजह जानने की कोशिश की कि ऐसा क्यों है? बहुत सारे लोग सिकल सेल से क्यों मर जाते हैं? बहुत सारे लोग मलेरिया से क्यों? उनको बच्चों का मरना या डेथ रेट का ज्यादा होना उनके लिए ये रूटीन है. दैट इज नॉट इश्यू ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. अब देखिए कि उनका अटेंशन कैसे डाइवर्ट कराने की, अगर वो उस पर लिखें, they would write on those issues. So the administration, the state, the government's attention can also be diverted towards those issues. And it just happened. When the journalists from hinterland, they start writing, the changes occur. You cannot say that governments are always apathetic. They don't do anything for the people. Sometimes it happens. The governments or the people in the power, so since they are also busy in a lot of, they don't know about what is the problem there. होता है ऐसा. तो अब आपको मैंने बताया कि वो नाली, खड़ंजा और सड़क और बिजली, इस पर ज्यादा. हाँ, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, आंगनबाड़ी में सहायिका नहीं आती, ये उनको पता है, that they know. बट आंगनबाड़ी में बच्चों के न्यूट्रिशन के लिए क्या लिस्ट है, क्या मेन्यू है और कितना देना चाहिए, और वो मिल रहा है कि नहीं, वो मिल नहीं रहा है तो किस लिए नहीं मिल रहा है, इसका पता उन्हें नहीं है. बिकॉज ऑफ द लैक ऑफ होलिस्टिक अप्रोच. हम हाथी का या सूंड देख के कहते हैं रस्सी है, और पैर देख के कहते हैं खंबा है. वी लैक होलिस्टिक अप्रोच. You have a common understanding that infrastructural development is developing. So let us understand what are different, how much time I have. Let me see. Sanchita Pramod, can you tell me how much time you will provide me?
Another 30 minutes.
अच्छा, thank you sir. Thank you sir. तो हम ये देखें. अब एक चीज आपको और बताना जरूरी है कि डेवलपमेंट, now there are methods, there are metrics to measure development. United Nations, since this is a class for the beginners, so I would like to discuss all these issues. Development is measured. They have developed the matrix for measuring development, United Nations, and the sister organizations just as UNICEF, UNDP, UNESCO, they're all. So measurement is a development index. There are indicators, and just I have told you that earlier paradigms of development were dominated by economic theories. Economic growth was supposed to be the development. Later on, social and human angles were also added. So there was an addition of the index also, indicators of development. Just as you can say, per capita income is the indicator. GDP is the indicator. GNP is the indicator. Consumption of petrol per 1,000 people is an indicator. But later on indicators were added. Death of people from tuberculosis in per lakh population is also an indicator. Health. Dropout rate of students is also an indicator. enrollment ratio is also an indicator. Students enrollment ratio. The availability of doctors per lakh people is also an indicator. So a lot of new indicators were born. That was, you can say, social indicators. Social indicators related to issues like health and education. And now the new understanding was developed that it is not only infrastructure powered, and now the economists like Amartya Sen and Morris and Mahbubul Haq and Muhammad Yunus and all these economists, they started reconsidering development. Ricardo Dino Seda, they started reconsidering that the putting money only that not bring a change in the scene of development. If people are not healthy, people are not educated, they are not empowered. And if they are not empowered and only external sops are always provided, people are not strengthened from inside, then the real development cannot occur. If they are not educated, education was considered to be very, very vital. Health and education. Another economist, Nerks, he has given you would have read, the vicious circle of poverty. If there is a bad health, there will be bad production capability. Later on, there will be low savings, low income, low savings, another low nutrition, again, low health. So Nerks says that once if a country is poor, it shall always remain poor because there is a spiral and we have to break that vicious circle. People are uneducated, they are not empowered, they will remain poor. They will not, you see, there's a, you cannot understand the importance of education when you are sitting here in Delhi. I'll tell you. And go to villages, you can understand. I have seen, since we and Saxena sir, we belong to a generation, we have seen two very different kind of economic status of a country, very drastic changes we have witnessed in our life. तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि एक ज़माना था जबकि गांव में जो गरीब लोग होते थे, मजदूर होते थे, खेत में हल जोतते थे, they were not empowered. उनको कोई सवाल ही नहीं था कि उनको कोई तवज्जो दे, उनको को बस वो मजदूर हैं, वो जानवर की तरह काम करेंगे, माना जाता था. बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन हमारे कुछ पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स का भी है. रिजर्वेशन प्रोवाइड किया गया, शेड्यूल क्लास, शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स को कुछ सुविधाएं दी गई, उसके बावजूद एम्पावरमेंट नहीं था. मैं आपसे बताता हूँ, एक कहानी है कि इंदिरा गांधी जब 5 year प्लान पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन की बात सोची जाने लगी तो कहा गया ये एलिवेशन हो कैसे, तो 60s तक आते करते ये हुआ कि नहीं, अगर लैंड रिफॉर्म किया जाए, लैंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन उसका मतलब है, बिकॉज लार्ज स्ट्रेचेस ऑफ लैंड वर इन द हैंड्स ऑफ ए फ्यू पीपल. पता लगा किसी के पास 1000 एकड़ जमीन है, किसी के पास 1 एकड़ भी नहीं. तो 1000 एकड़ जमीन वाला जो होता था, they were not so much, they could not cultivate entire fields, so there was a tenancy system. वो किसी और को देता था और जो लेता था उसको किराए पे, they did not have an incentive. उसको पता होता था कि फसल होगी तो आधी चली जाएगी, उसको इंसेंटिव नहीं होता था. तो वो that person also did not make effort to work more for the better growth, for the better yield, for the better harvest. उसको ये इंसेंटिव नहीं होता. तो गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि नहीं, अगर लैंड रिफॉर्म हो and if there will be a redistribution of land, then things may be solved, the problems may be solved. And Mrs. Gandhi was a prime minister and they started the process. लैंड रिफॉर्म का जमींदारी एबोलिशन एक्ट आया 67 में. उसका मतलब ये था कि if you have more than certain limit of land, your land will be sealed. उसको सीलिंग कहा जाता था. मैंने ऐसे ऐसी कहानियां देखी कि सीलिंग कर दी गई लैंड, और या दो तरह की आपको चीजें बताऊंगा कि सीलिंग कर दी गई उसके बावजूद जो जिसको वो लैंड रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूट हुई, they could not accumulate a courage to cultivate that land because they were weak people. They were not high-handed. कभी कोशिश करते तो वो डंडे से मार के भगा दिया जाता था. They could not accumulate a courage. दूसरा स्ट्रेस ये था कि कई बड़े जमींदारों ने अपने कुत्ते के नाम से, अपने बैल के नाम से, अपने रिलेटिव्स के नाम से जमीनें कर दी. तो in that way they remained the owners of the land. तो बहुत ज़्यादा सफल नहीं हो पाया ये लैंड, फिर भी हुआ. But real empowerment later on occurred. So these people, the poorest of the poor, when they started education, getting education, education brought drastic change. Education not only is a source of income, yeah, employment. Education also brings awareness of rights. So the people started asserting their rights once they were educated. I have seen this phenomena. अभी भी हिंदुस्तान में कई क्षेत्र ऐसे हैं जहां assertion of rights नहीं है क्योंकि education नहीं है. Education जहां हुआ, बहुत सारे political leaders ऐसे जैसे कांशी राम आए, बहुत awareness create की. तो when they got educated, पढ़े वो, तो उनके अंदर assertion of rights आई. और देखिए डेवलपमेंट का एक बहुत बड़ा फीचर है कि डेवलपमेंट की डिमांड भी होनी चाहिए. टॉप डाउन ही नहीं होता. You cannot consider कि एक नेताजी आएंगे हमारे गांव में बस सब कुछ बढ़िया करके चले जाएंगे, एक कलेक्टर साहब आएंगे. डेवलपमेंट की डिमांड क्रिएट होनी चाहिए. तो when they asserted their rights, they had an understanding of their rights, the demand of development was created. And when the demand of development was created, areas started developing अपने आप. एजुकेशन का ये मतलब नहीं है कि वो पढ़ लिख के चला जाएगा कहीं शहर में नौकरी करेगा. एजुकेशन से assertion of rights भी आते हैं और assertion of rights से changes आते हैं. Because then those people, we contribute public exchequer, we contribute taxes, then we have a right to develop it ourselves. ये किसी की चैरिटी नहीं है कि जो आप हॉस्पिटल बनते हैं या आपके लिए एजुकेशन के इंस्टीट्यूशंस बनते हैं. दिस इज योर टैक्सेस. ये तो डेवलपमेंट का फर्क देखने में आया एजुकेशन से. मैं कहता हूं कि एजुकेशन का कितना बड़ा महत्व है. It is only for the knowledge, but education also brings assertion. तो ये चीजें, इन चीजों पे जोर दिया जाने लगा कि ये हेल्थ और एजुकेशन जैसी चीजें भी महत्वपूर्ण है. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो था ही, इंडस्ट्री तो था ही पहले से. पॉवर्टी एलिविएशन के बहुत अलग अलग 5 years प्लान में अलग अलग तरह के एफर्ट्स किए गए. कभी सब्सिडाइज किया गया, कभी एग्रीकल्चर पर स्ट्रेस दिया गया, कभी किसी तरह की सब्सिडी. अब भी देखिए तरह तरह के एफर्ट्स हो रहे हैं कि उनके डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, डीबीटी, ये पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन का ही एफर्ट है. जब भी हम देखेंगे, कोई एनुअल प्लान देखेंगे, कोई बजट देखेंगे, उसके एनालिसिस करेंगे, तो उसमें पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन का एलिमेंट ज़रूर रहेगा. ये डेवलपमेंट का बहुत एसेंशियल फील्ड है. हेल्थ और एजुकेशन की बात मैंने की, हाउसिंग की बात मैंने की. हाउसिंग की अभी बहुत से कंट्रीज़ का डेवलपमेंट ऐसे भी देखा जाता है कि लोग कैसे घरों में रहते हैं. थैच्ड हाउसेस में रहते हैं, टाइल्ड हाउसेस में रहते हैं, पक्का हाउसेस में रहते हैं, मड हाउसेस में रहते हैं. इंडिया में तो उसको पक्का, अंग्रेजी में भी पक्का लिखा जाता है और कच्चा लिखा जाता है. कैसे घरों में रहे. या होमलेस हैं, सड़कों पे रहते हैं, ऐसे भी लोग हैं. पेड़ों पे रहते हैं, ऐसे भी लोग हैं. तो क्या है इसमें? एक कहानी मुझे मतलब सच बात याद आती है. केरला गवर्नमेंट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के बीच में रिसेंट डिस्प्यूट हुआ था. जैसे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने क्राइटेरिया बनाया कि द पीपल हु आर लिविंग इन टाइल्ड हाउसेस, द पक्का हाउसेस, हु आर लिविंग इन पक्का हाउसेस, दे वॉन्ट बी कंसिडर्ड पुअर एंड द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द पुअर विल नॉट बी प्रोवाइडेड टू देम. तो केरल ने कहा, केरल सोशल डेवलपमेंट के इंडिकेटर्स में बहुत ऊपर है. केरल के चीफ मिनिस्टर ने कहा अभी, पिनियारी विजयन ने, कि we have provided all the poors of our state. We have provided pakka house to them all. It does not mean that they are not pure, and they cannot be benefited by the schemes, plans, and programs that are meant for BPL, below poverty line people. तो ये dispute create हुआ. ये देखिए, तो एक क्राइटेरिया ये भी है कि लोग कैसे घरों में रहते हैं, कि लिविंग कंडीशंस क्या हैं, हाइजीन और सैनिटेशन कैसा है. आप देखते होंगे कि हमारे देश में या बहुत सारे देशों में आप देखेंगे गंदे नालों के किनारे झुग्गियों में लोग रहते हैं, उनकी लिविंग कंडीशन क्या है। ये भी हाउसिंग भी दैट इज अ एक और चीज आती है दैट वाज कंसीडर्ड लेटर ऑन इन 70s वाज ए वेरी 70 के दशक में इस पर बहुत ज्यादा जोर दिया जाने लगा। ह्यूमन राइट्स चाइल्ड राइट्स भी आता है उसमें, ह्यूमन राइट्स। किसी देश में अभी आप देखते होंगे कि HDI की इंडेक्स में हमारा देश कितना पीछे जा रहा है। कई तरह के ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, ये वो बताते हैं कि ह्यूमन राइट्स का आपके कंट्री में ह्यूमन राइट्स का स्टेटस कैसा है। और अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम पिछले, मैं तो नहीं कहूँगा 6 साल, पिछले कुछ सालों में as far as human rights is concerned, we are lagging far behind. Violation of human rights. इसके भी कई क्राइटेरिया बनाए गए हैं, कई एजेंसीज हैं जो वॉच करती हैं। एट्रोसिटीज कितनी हैं, स्टेट ऑपरेशन है, टेररिज्म है तब भी ह्यूमन राइट्स नहीं है, स्टेट एट्रोसिटी है तब भी ह्यूमन राइट्स नहीं है। Discrimination, if there is discrimination on caste, creed or class basis, even then that is violation of human rights. If man is not allowed to live a dignified life, किसी को पोखरे से पानी नहीं लेने दिया जाता, किसी को कुएं से पानी नहीं लेने दिया जाता, not dignified life. That's a breach of human rights. So if human rights issues are major in your country will not be considered developed country. If there are child right violations, if there is child trafficking, if the child education is not there, इसके लिए हम समय देखिए यही डेवलपमेंट के चीजें हैं जिससे हम समय समय पे कानून बनाते हैं। जैसे हम ले आए RTE, right to education, a number of laws that appear from time to time. So this is also an issue now. If we are thinking in the field of development, we should consider the people of a particular community, particular country, particular state, they are living a dignified life or not. If there is any kind of discrimination, even education has been also, if they are not, see, education and health is our right. In certain article, I don't remember the article, but the article of Constitution, it has been clearly described that health is a right of every citizen. We should assert that right. And if state fails to provide health facilities to all, that is a failure of a state, and that is a breach of human rights also. If the state fails to provide education to all, that is a breach of human rights. This kind of understanding we have to develop in ourselves.
Education, Dr. Tripathi, education is in fact covered under Article 21.
Yes, sir.
Though separate legal right has been created for that, but the real constitutional spirit comes from Article 21, and then also it gets a mention in Directive Principles of State Policy.
So, and health also, sir.
Yeah.
Health also is it is Article 44 or something. Health is also the responsibility of the state.
Yeah, it's always.
Yeah. And just to provide equal all health facilities to all. This is the responsibility of the state. You cannot deny. So we have to develop this kind of understanding if we are working in the field of development. And then one more thing was added that I would like to discuss. Two more things I will discuss, sir. 10 minute और देंगे?
हाँ, 10 मिनट।
अच्छा, हम एक और चीज डिस्कस करने वाले थे, लेकिन चलिए हम कंक्लूड करते हैं। देखिए, दो चीजों पे और हमें समझना होगा जो बहुत बड़े इश्यूज हैं। एक तो इशू है कल्चर का। ये इशू आता है 80s में, और यूनेस्को ने कहा कि ऑन द वन हैंड वी आर इकोनॉमिकली वी आर डेवलपिंग, वी आर वेरी वेल ऑफ पीपल, and we have also alleviated our poverty. We have also developed industrial development हो गया, urban development हो गया, सब कुछ हो गया. Agriculture is also very good. And on the other hand, if we are losing our indigenous culture, so there is something lopsided in the development. ये यूनेस्को ने कहा, और सर मुझे लगता है ये बात आई है 80s में.
Exactly.
कल्चरल कंजर्वेशन को भी डेवलपमेंट माना गया. आप देखिए कि आपके कंट्रीज में कल्चरल कंजर्वेशन का क्या स्टेटस है. आपके फोक टेल्स, आपकी जो भी मोटिव्स थे, जो भी फोक कल्चर है, ट्रेडिशनल मीडियम है, तो कैसा, हाउ मच डिटोरियोरेशन, हाउ मच दैट इज ऑलमोस्ट इन द new kind of entertainment that is almost being diminished.
In fact, the government has done a lot in this area, but that's again not enough given the diversity that we
Yes,
have
sir.
in the country. So that is not enough. The preservation has been done by All India Radio in a big way. Then there are other
yes, sir.
agents.
All India Radio has the objective, उसके तो objective में है सर.
Objectives में, exactly.
जी, और मुझे याद है कि सर अंबिकापुर का रेडियो स्टेशन हमारे मिर्जापुर में वो ट्रांसमिशन आता था, तो वहाँ एक कार्यक्रम आता था मादल के स्वर. मादल के स्वर मतलब वहाँ के आदिवासी जो वाद्य बजा के, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो ने तो बहुत एफर्ट किया है सर.
ऑल इंडिया रेडियो ने इसके लिए पर्पसली अलग से जो लोकल रेडियो स्टेशन का कॉन्सेप्ट है वो इसको लेके आए थे.
अभी भी कर रहा है सर, अभी भी कर रहा है वो लोकल रेडियो में. लेकिन फिर राजीव गांधी आए तो उन्होंने उसको, यूनेस्को ने जब डायरेक्टिव दिए, उसके बाद उन्होंने कल्चरल सेंटर्स बनाए. आपको याद होगा इलाहाबाद में NCZCC बना था, नॉर्थ सेंट्रल जोन कल्चरल सेंटर. तो कंट्री के अलग अलग पार्ट में कल्चरल सेंटर्स बनाए.
नहीं काम हुआ है, बट देन ऑब्वियसली जितनी जरूरत थी उससे कम है, बस ये है खास बात.
नहीं सर, वो देखिए एक चीज ये है कि डेवलपमेंट का कोई भी सेक्टर हो, तो this is also the responsibility of citizen. Entirely, we cannot say pass the onus to state or the government कि सब कुछ गवर्नमेंट को ही करना चाहिए. सर मैंने देखा कि NCZCC ट्रूप्स लेके आता है यहाँ पे, जैसे इलाहाबाद का NCZ या और को कल्चरल सेंटर्स है, तो आप देखेंगे इंडिपेंडेंस डे पे वो ट्रूप्स लेके आते हैं. अब नागा वाले जो दिखाते हैं सींग लगा के नाचते हैं, अब वहां जाइए नागालैंड में अब नहीं मिलेंगे वो. या बस्तर में जो पंख लगा के नाचते हैं, बस्तर में एक परंपरा होती थी सर घोटुल. घोटुल में रात भर लड़के लड़कियां स्त्री पुरुष सभी नाचते थे, महुए की शराब पीते थे और नाचते थे, उसी में अपने पेयर्स चुन लेते थे वो. तो अब मैं बस्तर जब गया पिछली बार, तो मैंने सुकमा में पूछा अब घोटुल होता है यहाँ? कहा नहीं. वहां के लोगों ने कहा नहीं, ज्यादातर घोटुल खत्म हो चुके हैं, और कहीं गढ़ चिरौली है ना, अबू झमाड़ में कहीं 3-4 घोटुल अभी हैं वहां पे जो परंपरा.
अमरकंटक के आसपास का जो एरिया है वहां भी काफी इस तरह की प्रथाएं हैं.
हाँ, वहाँ बैंगा जनजाति है, जिसको कहते हैं कि वो राष्ट्रपति के दत्तक पुत्र कहते हैं. वो एक्सटिंक्ट होते जा रहे हैं. 2-3 ऐसे हैं, जब पहाड़ी कोरबा है, बैंगा है, ये एक्सटिंक्ट. तो उनके प्रोटेक्शन, उनके कंजर्वेशन के लिए एफर्ट्स किए जाते हैं कि ये खत्म ना होने पाए. तो उसके लिए तो सर ये है कि हम we have to protect our indigenous culture also, our motifs, our culture, our folk traditions. ये हमारी भी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हम उसको कंजर्व करें. ये एक बात आती है. दूसरी बात आती है एनवायरनमेंट की. ये बहुत बड़ा इश्यूज है, स्टूडेंट्स को इसे समझना चाहिए. ये एनवायरनमेंट अभी वर्ल्ड वाइड 2 तरह की, इसी के साथ मैं बात खत्म करूंगा. फिर सर अगर फिर बुलाएंगे तो आगे की बात मैं करूंगा. कि एक बात है, अभी वर्ल्ड वाइड 2 तरह की लॉबीज हैं, एनवायरनमेंट वर्सेस डेवलपमेंट, सो कॉल्ड डेवलपमेंट. इसको हम रियल डेवलपमेंट नहीं कहेंगे. इस इशू को समझ लीजिए आप लोग, स्टूडेंट्स पर्टिकुलरली वो समझ लें कि अगर टिहरी, अब एक आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल एंड आई वुड लाइक टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड कि अगर टिहरी डैम बनता है तो टिहरी डैम में से बेनिफिट्स कितने होते हैं और डैमेजेस कैसे होते हैं, ये कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस. तो ये डेवलपमेंट, ये क्वेश्चन उठता है कि ये डेवलपमेंट अगर है, आपको ये सवाल उठाना पड़ेगा, तो दिस डेवलपमेंट फॉर हुम, ये किसके लिए है, ये सवाल हमेशा उठाना पड़ेगा. टिहरी डैम बना, वर्ल्ड वाइड एक्सपर्ट्स ने कहा, उसमें रशियन एक्सपर्ट्स ने कहा कि नहीं, हिमालयस में बहुत अनफर्म सॉइल है, माउंटेन, पे ऐसा बनाना, इतना बड़ा डैम ठीक नहीं है. बना दिया, ग्लोबल टेंडर्स हो गए. अब हम और क्या क्या हुआ हम तो नहीं बताएंगे यहाँ पे, लेकिन बना दिया. अब बना दिया, आप कभी जाइए टिहरी डैम, आप जाइए प्रमोद, आप जाके कभी देखिएगा, पहाड़ से हैं आप, धनौल्टी से आगे जाइए, धनौल्टी तक आपको बहुत हरियाली मिलेगी, मसूरी से धनौल्टी. उसके बाद चंबा आता है, चंबा में आइए, आपको लगेगा कि आप डेजर्ट में चले आए जब टिहरी डैम की तरफ आगे बढ़ेंगे. मतलब धनौल्टी में आपको ठंडा लगेगा, और चंबा में आपको गर्मी लगेगी, और टिहरी डैम जब आप पहुंच जाएंगे तो आपको लगेगा डेवस्टेशन है पूरे पहाड़ों में, सारे जंगल काट दिए गए हैं। और लगता है टिहरी डैम के किनारे, लगता है उसकी जो वाटर बॉडीज हैं, ये लगता है कि रेगिस्तान में आ गए, तो कहीं से पानी है वहां, बस उजाड़।
नहीं, पानी का भी जितना रिजर्वायर होना चाहिए था वो भी
नहीं है सर, वो
Sir, it is functioning only to the 30% of its original believed
30%,
capacity.
yes, exactly.
And it is eroding, and it is believed कि future में it is posing more threat
More
than the
damage.
kind of development that was expected from it.
Yes, moreover, Pramod, it has also devastated entire Gangetic plains. It has changed the nature of Ganga water. You know, Ganga water earlier is someone's virus, beneficial virus was found there, bacteriophage. तो सारे बैक्टीरिया को खा जाता था। Just a minute. श्वेता, एक मिनट में टॉक पे हैं, हम बात करते हैं। हाँ, बोलो। हाँ, मैं बात करता हूँ, हैं? हाँ, जी, हाँ, तो मैं कह रहा था कि गैंगेटिक प्लेन्स जो है उसमें सर there's the nature of water has changed, and since nature of water has changed, the Ganga water जिसे कहते हैं कि ये कभी सड़ता ही नहीं, कभी खराब नहीं होता, it never rots. That nature you cannot find that nature. हमारे पूजा घर में ताम्र पात्र में गंगा जल रहता है, सालों रखा है, खराब नहीं होता, अब खराब हो जाएगा. And now more and more it has also disturbed the biodiversity of Ganges. You know, Ganga dolphin extinct, Ganga hydrilla extinct. और एक सर, आप अभी मैं हाल में गया था तो एक बोटिंग करते करते जब मछुआरे से पूछा कि उन्होंने कहा कि बड़ी खराब स्थिति है, ये मछलियां जो पहले पाई जाती थी वो पाई नहीं जाती. The habitat of indigenous fishes has been damaged by some alien fish, and that alien fish is not good even for eating. The entire biodiversity. तो इतने कितने बड़े लेवल पे डेवस्टेशन है, आप देखिए इसको एक टिहरी डैम बनाने से. तो ये सवाल उठता है कि डेवलपमेंट फॉर it should raise a question. And there is worldwide there is a lobby, environmentalist versus so-called developmentalist. हम उसको developmentalist नहीं कहें. Some people speak in favor of development, and other there are environmentalists. अडानी जाते हैं वहाँ माइनिंग के लिए क्वींसलैंड में, वहाँ environmentalist lobby इतनी strong है कि उनको नहीं करने देती माइनिंग वहाँ पे. He has to come back. But in India he succeeds. In India, you will see the areas of Chhattisgarh, the bauxite, पूरा का पूरा पहाड़ iron ore और bauxite से भरा हुआ है. How much devastation will occur? Nobody considers. उस माइनिंग का जो हम माइनिंग में जो निकालेंगे वो कितना बेनिफिशियल हमारे लिए होगा in comparison to the destruction that is caused environment, to the biodiversity, to the life. In comparison to that, how much beneficial that's for this is, we have to consider. अभी किन्नौर में और हिमाचल में बहुत सारे स्पीति लाहौल के पास बहुत सारे डैम्स बनाए जा रहे हैं, and there is massive protest against those dams, because those dams will later on in the future, they will cause a massive devastation of the environment. And if Himalayan environment will be destroyed, the environment of the plain will also be destroyed. You know well, कि ग्लेशियर अगर नहीं रहेंगे तो क्या होगा. और बहुत बड़े प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं, लेकिन फॉर्चुनेटली और अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक वहाँ के बहुत बड़े लीडर भी हैं, गुमान सिंह. हमारी मीडिया कहीं कुछ नहीं दिखाती कि वहाँ क्या हो रहा है, बिकॉज मीडिया ऑलवेज इन द फेवर ऑफ लॉबी हु इज इन फेवर ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ डैम्स देयर ऑब्वियसली. तो हमें डेवलपमेंट इश्यूज में इन चीज़ों को जरा सा समझना पड़ेगा कि ये क्या है, और उसको देखते हुए अगर एक ओवरऑल होलिस्टिक फिर और भी चीज़ें आती हैं, जैसे हम अपने देश के रूरल डेवलपमेंट को बिल्कुल भी दरकिनार न करें, नेग्लेक्ट न करें. और रूरल डेवलपमेंट मतलब एग्रीकल्चर ही नहीं होता. रूरल डेवलपमेंट, agriculture and allied rural life entirely. Rural is not synonym of agriculture. Matlab, if there is one village, it does not mean that there is only agriculture. In US and Canada, in villages also, there is a proper electricity, there is proper telecommunication, there is proper education, everything is there. So rural, why there is a urban-rural divide? We have to consider all these things: class divide, caste divide, creed divide, urban-rural divide. All these are developed. Even digital divide. These are all development issues, and we have to take care of it. So rural जब हम देखें, तो rural में what opportunities of employment are being created. और दो और चीज आपसे कहना पड़ेगा. एक तो ध्यान दीजिए सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट पे, सस्टेन, और एक ध्यान दीजिए इक्विटेबल डेवलपमेंट. इक्विटेबल रूरल अर्बन कहाँ, अभी जब भी हम हिंदुस्तान की बात करते हैं तो अर्बन में ये, रूरल में ये. पॉवर्टी रेशियो की बात करते हैं, एनवायरमेंट एनरोलमेंट रेशियो की बात करते हैं, तो अर्बन में ये, रूरल में ये. दिस इज अ ग्रेट डिवाइड. यू हैव टू फिल द गैप as a development worker working in the field of development. दूसरा sustainable development, अभी हम SDG goal भी है 2030 sustainable development goal है. तो नए students को sustainable development समझना पड़ेगा. Development, we have to develop ourselves in such a way that we can, when we render to our future, we render this universe or this environment to our future generations, तो दैट इज सेफ फॉर देम. ऐसा ना हम डिस्ट्रक्शन कॉज कर दें डेवलपमेंट के चक्कर में कि जो हम धरती उनको दे रहे हैं आगे वो जीने लायक ही नहीं रह जाए. एंड दैट्स व्हाई देयर इज अ स्ट्रेस ऑन रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी एंड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर. स्टूडेंट्स हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट वेरी वेल बिकॉज दिस इज अ न्यू कैच वर्ड इन द फील्ड ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. तो ये थोड़ी सी बातें रही. मुझे लगता है कि आप लोगों को थोड़ा बहुत इससे अंडरस्टैंडिंग हुई होगी. फिर आगे की बातें फिर आगे के. एंड अगेन आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू सक्सेना सर एंड बाला मैम एंड प्रमोद एंड संचिता एंड DME ऑल्सो. DME दिस इज वेरी प्रेस्टिजियस इंस्टीट्यूशन. और मैं तो देखता हूँ कि सर ने कितना कुछ यहाँ ले आए हैं कि देखने वाली चीज है. वंस आई वुड लाइक टू कम देयर एंड सी.
Pramod,
फैंटास्टिक एंड अमेजिंग.
Thank you, Dr. Tripathi. Pramod, are there any questions to be asked?
There are some questions, sir. There is a question by Mansi Nangia, a student of second year, who is asking what is the difference between development and growth, and she has also asked if modernization and developments are they synonyms of each other?
Yeah. So I'll take up her first question. Development and growth. You see, Mansi is her name. Mansi, you see, Mansi. Growth is more or less related to economic growth of the country, national development, national income, industrial production, income per capita, infrastructural growth. This is growth. Growth means more or less it is related to economy. आपका सेंसेक्स कितना ऊपर जा रहा है, ये इकोनॉमी की आपको एक इंडिकेट करता है. इकोनॉमी की आपका पेट्रोल पर 1000 पीपल कितना कंजम्पशन है, आपकी इकोनॉमी बता रहा है कि आपकी इकोनॉमी अच्छी है कि नहीं. मार्केट कैसा चल रहा है, आपका इकोनॉमी है. आपकी मार्केट के इंडिकेटर्स जो हैं, कंजम्पशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स कितना हो रहा है, ये इकोनॉमी है. तो ग्रोथ इज इकोनॉमी. एंड यू कैन नॉट से ग्रोथ, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ इज आपके कंट्री की ग्रोथ, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. व्हेन वी से ग्रोथ इट इज रिलेटेड टू इकोनॉमी. तो ये एक तरह से एक अंडरस्टूड है. तो अब आपकी कंट्री की इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कितनी हुई, दैट इज आल्सो ए पार्ट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. ये ऐसा नहीं कि डेवलपमेंट नहीं है. दैट इज earlier there was a misconception that growth, economic growth was all in all considered to be the development. But there is a difference between development and growth. Growth may be only an element, only a component of development, but development that possesses other components, not only growth, environment, dignity, freedom, health, education. Even that is not economic growth. That is also the component of development. Second question, क्या था Pramod?
It was related to modernization. Are development and modernization are the synonyms of each other?
Yeah. देखिए, देखिए इसमें ये वेस्टर्न प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, जरा सा इस पर हमें थोड़ा सा बात और करना पड़ेगा। वेस्टर्न लीनियर डेवलपमेंट मॉडल था उनका, वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज ने हमें दिया। वो लीनियर मॉडल ये था, एक लाइन में लकीर में चलने का, कि इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, अर्बनाइजेशन, मॉडर्नाइजेशन। देखिए the circumstances under which the European countries developed and circumstances under which we are developing, that is very different. And unfortunately, blindly we have adopted their model of development when we had to start. Unfortunately, तो उनका मॉडल क्या था? देखिए उनके पास बहुत टेरिटरीज बहुत छोटी हैं यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में, एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड बहुत बड़े बड़े नहीं हैं, थोड़ा बहुत एग्रीकल्चर कर लेते हैं। So they diverted towards industry. First of all, when they got their mines, coal mines there, then they started industries. And they created, when industry was developing, then we have seen they developed in science and technology में भी develop किया उन्होंने, innovation में develop किया, तो industries आने लगी, तो urban centers बने। तो रूरल से जो पेस्टोरल पॉपुलेशन थी, जो लोग छोटी मोटी खेती करते थे या भेड़ें, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री, दे वर इन्वॉल्वड इन। आप 13th सेंचुरी के पहले की बात अगर करेंगे यूरोप की, तो लाइफस्टाइल उनकी बड़ी अजीब सी हुआ करती थी। वो ठीक से रहने और जीना तक नहीं जानते थे, वो झोपड़ों में रहते थे। और ठीक से हमारे घर के तो झोपड़े बहुत अच्छे होते हैं हमारे देश के, उसमें उनके झोपड़े भी ठीक से नहीं होते थे। वो तो रेनेसां के बाद देयर चेंजेस दैट ऑकर्ड, तो वो उनकी सर्कमस्टेंसेस बहुत फर्क थी। तो पेस्टोरल लाइफ जो बिताते थे, दे वर subsistence kind of lifestyle was theirs, so they shifted and there was a better opportunity in urban areas. So big urban centers were made, big urban centers. तो उनके डेवलपमेंट के पैटर्न पे इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हुआ, फिर अर्बनाइजेशन हुआ, और अर्बनाइजेशन से मॉडर्नाइजेशन हुआ। मॉडर्नाइजेशन मीन्स the old community, the old society that metamorphosed, that transformed into a new society. उनको लगा कि अब एक अलग तरह की नई सोसाइटी है। Modernization मतलब they adopted science and technology and the industry and new economic models. ये सब modernization मतलब ये नहीं कि वो बड़े fantastic घरों में रहने लगे और बड़े बड़े fashionable कपड़े पहनने लगे, नहीं। Modern way of thinking, modern society was born. अब इन हर कंट्री मॉडर्नाइजेशन तो डेवलपमेंट के बाद होना चाहिए, ये एसेंशियल फीचर है, ये तो सही है। लेकिन द मॉडल दैट वी शुड अडॉप्ट, दैट इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट, क्योंकि इन आवर कंट्री द मॉडल इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन अर्बनाइजेशन मॉडल वाज नॉट एडिक्वेट मॉडल। यू सी, we primarily were involved in primary sector, that is animal husbandry, agriculture and forestry. So our development should have started from there only, bottom up, not top down. हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि नहीं हम अपनी कंट्री में भी जबरदस्ती का बड़ी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री बना दें और तब डेवलपमेंट होगा। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमें जो बॉटम अप पॉपुलेशन है, जो हाईली डिपेंड अपॉन फॉरेस्ट्री, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री और एग्रीकल्चर है, हमें उसका स्टेटस ऊपर करना होगा, एंड देन वी हैव टू गो स्टेप बाय स्टेप अहेड। जिस तरह अमेरिका और कनाडा ने किया है, उनकी ग्रोथ की कहानी, पूरा इतिहास, पूरा मॉडल बिल्कुल अलग है। हालांकि अमेरिका में मोरलेस अमेरिका और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में लूट के ही किया है, वहाँ के इंडिजिनस ट्राइब्स को लूट के मार के एग्रीकल्चर किया, लेकिन एग्रीकल्चर से बाद उन्होंने डेवलपमेंट किया। एग्रीकल्चर ऑफ अमेरिका एंड कनाडा इज वेरी रिच।
Sir, there is another question from one of the students, Ayushi Verma. Sir, does it need to be the last question, Amrish sir?
Yeah. This has to be the last.
Fine. It says, the question says, do you agree that the human rights violation is because of the lack of effectiveness of the government, or them ignoring something deliberately? So can we blame a government for that, or can the government be held responsible for that? Only?
See, to a certain extent, where there's a law of the land and enforcement, how much good is the enforcement of law? We can say up to a certain extent it is responsible. But up to the large extent, the divide that is occurring in our society अगर बहुत बड़ा तबका गरीब रहेगा तो कहीं ना कहीं क्राइम होगा. उसको भी द सोशल स्ट्रक्चर दैट वी आर इन अ प्रोसेस ऑफ मेकिंग. जैसे कि एक तरफ कुछ कैपिटलिस्ट, उनकी कैपिटल आप पिछले 6 साल में देखें तो 10 टाइम्स हो गई होगी. दूसरी तरफ द पीपल हु आर बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन, उनकी जो पॉवर्टी है वो और बढ़ रही है. तो ऐसे में हमें कैसे वी प्रोवाइड अपॉर्चुनिटी, वी प्रोवाइड अ scene or environment to a society that is divided, economically divided. And if economically divided society, that is the discrimination is there, then certainly disgruntled society will be there. और उसके बाद जो क्राइम है, ये भी क्राइम भी वायलेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स है. तो इसके बहुत सारे सोशल कॉजेज होते हैं. तो एक कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड. दूसरा, society itself, if we shall practice discrimination of any kind, तो that discrimination may in a long term yield, हमें भी अपने अंदर से रिफॉर्म लाना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, अब बहुत सारे जो एट्रोसिटीज हैं स्टेट के भी होते हैं. तो स्टेट एट्रोसिटीज इसलिए हैं बिकॉज वी टॉलरेट, बिकॉज वी डोंट नाउ. एक मूवमेंट और रेवोल्यूशन या मूवमेंट का जमाना ही खत्म हो गया. हम आवाज नहीं उठाएंगे, हम बोलेंगे ही नहीं, हम अपने आप में हम इकट्ठे नहीं होंगे. वी कैन नॉट कलेक्ट आवरसेल्व्स. हम चुप रहेंगे, हम बगल में कुछ होता रहे तो देख के चुप रहेंगे. तो ये टेंडेंसी जो हो रही है, तो स्टेट एट्रोसिटीज को भी, स्टेट एट्रोसिटी को या स्टेट वायलेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स को बढ़ावा देगी. तीसरी चीज जो मुझे है, देखिए हम भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. मैं कह रहा हूँ स्टेट तो रिस्पॉन्सिबल, हम भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल. तो थर्ड थिंग है वो है कि indiscriminate and blind industrialization and indiscriminate and blind superstructure of capitalism. अगर हम इसको बिना सोचे समझे बढ़ावा देते रहे. इशू क्या है? नक्सल्स का इशू क्या है आजकल? पहले इशू था जब सिलीगुड़ी से नक्सलवादी आंदोलन से शुरू हुआ, तो उनका इशू लैंड रिफॉर्म था, भूमि सुधार. और अब इशू उनका जल, जंगल और जमीन. If there will be a spurt of snatching their resources, एक जगह उनके पास एक छोटी सी रिवुलेट होती है, नदी जंगल में, और उस नदी का पानी वो पीते हैं और उसी से अपनी खेती करते हैं और उसी में जो चीज़ें जंगल में पैदा होती है उसे गुजारा करते हैं. एक इंडस्ट्री वहाँ आती है और हज़ारों साल से वो, उनका कोई ना ज़मीन का पट्टा है ना कुछ है, हज़ारों साल से वो इंडिजिनस ट्राइब वहाँ रह रही है. एक इंडस्ट्री आती है, लग जाती है, वहाँ की माइनिंग कर लेती है. जो माइनिंग के बेनिफिट्स हैं वो भी उनको नहीं मिलते और उस रिवुलेट का पानी वो कंज्यूम कर लेती है इंडस्ट्री. और उसके बाद एफ्लुएंट्स में वो नाला बह के बनता है, नाला गंदे पानी का, केमिकल. तो दे आर डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ देयर जल, जंगल, जमीन, ऑल, एंड दे आर मार्जिनलाइज्ड. वो वहाँ पे वो आदिवासी जो खुशनुमा जिंदगी बिताता था वहाँ मजदूरी करता है और बहुत गंदी जगह में रहने के लिए मजबूर होता है. और उसके बाद उसके बहुत सारे एक्सप्लॉयटेशंस होते हैं. कितने तरह की दुनिया में एक्सप्लॉयटेशंस हैं, सारे होते हैं उसके और उसके फैमिली के. देन व्हाट? वायलेशन. वायलेशन फ्रॉम whom? So a lot of things we are responsible, and we are responsible also for the violation because we always remain silent. So there are multiple reasons. तो सोसाइटी को इसके लिए स्टैंड करना पड़ेगा.
So thank you, Dr. Tripathi. Pramod, now we should conclude. Who will take it forward? Sanchita or Pramod?
Sanchita ma'am, please take it forward.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed an insightful session. I am sure our young budding journalists definitely benefited from your thought-provoking views. Thank you so much, sir. I would now request Dr. Susmita Bala, Head DME Media School, to please say a few words.
It was such an enriching session. So it helped us all in having a better understanding of the concept of development. Dr. Tripathi also laid emphasis on education. I think students would now be able to appreciate education in a better manner. Thanks, Dr. Tripathi, for providing my students such informative input. Thanks to Dr. Tripathi and all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
At Delhi Metropolitan Education DME, we have an excellent infrastructure. We have a studio for production which is known as Studio 62. It was inaugurated by Tigmanshu Dhulia, who is a noted filmmaker. And within the studio, we have so many facilities. We have a chroma setup, we have a news setup, we have a chat room setup. And since floor is splendid, we can shoot any kind of program. We also have a separate radio studio.
And we have also organized Mega Film Festival SIFI and International Conference ICANN and received lots of films and received lots of paper in that conference.
For a college, the software is very important. In my college, the software comprises of three things. First is the teaching. Second is the research, and third is the mentoring. With the help of these three softwares, we train a student in such a manner that placement is just a byproduct.
One of the essential features of Law School at DME is its well-equipped moot court. Since its inception, DME has organized several moot court competitions and workshops just to enhance the mooting skills, which have been conducted under the distinguished guidance of various luminaries from bench, bar and academics.
Judicial Training Academy is the most shining feature of Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida. We have a huge library to help out our students with more than 15,000 books, including Halsbury's Laws of England.
DME has a very robust library infrastructure that not only caters to the curriculum needs of the students and the teachers, but also provides a great academic ambience. The library is equipped with latest books, journals and other e-resources.
At DME, we not only believe in academic excellence, but we also provide platform to students to showcase their talent through big open amphitheatre, beautiful auditorium, multi-purpose seminar hall, equipped with world-class facilities. Recently, we have conducted Cultural Fest Aloha in January 2020 and Anugunj, that is the Universal IP Fest, in February 2020.